Hello, it's Wednesday. Oh, you see in the background, we did some math, if you were there. The book I have today is historical fiction, which remember, it means that it's based on an event that happened in history, and the things in it probably really did happen, but the characters are made up. So this story actually kind of reminds me of what's going around on here a little bit, or during right now. It's called A Storm Called Katrina, and there was a hurricane that destroyed a town in the United States, and the storm was called Katrina. And those kids were out of school for a long time because the schools and the houses were destroyed. And kind of reminds me of how we're out of school now. Luckily, we have our homes though to keep us safe, unlike the people in this book. But this event really did happen. The characters are made up, so it's called A Storm Called Katrina. Hurricane's coming, baby, Mama said. I'm not a baby anymore, Mama. I turned 10 last month. Don't matter how old you are, Louise Daniel. You'll always be my baby, she said. Hush now and go to bed. The wind rattled my window something fierce. When the storm howled louder, I covered my ears and hid under my bed. I hugged my brass cornet close to my chest. I always feel better having it nearby. Someday I want to play just like Louis Daniel Armstrong, the greatest horn player ever. So a cornet is a type of trumpet. It's a little bit smaller. In the morning, I saw the storm had blown down our big oak tree with the swing. Mama's elephant ear plants were beaten flat to the ground. Will you look at that rain, Daddy said? Those drops are bigger than quarters. The wind slammed them sideways against the window. Daddy pulled me away from the glass. The whole house shook. Don't you worry now, Mama said. After some huffing and puffing, Katrina will blow away and land on the coast, just like all those other hurricanes. But I couldn't stop worrying. Finally, the rain stopped, and everything got real quiet. Daddy opened the door. Water's rising fast, he said. We gotta get out of here. Let me run and get a few things first, Mama said. Daddy shook his head. There's no time. It's already up to our front stoop. I grabbed my horn from the coffee table. No way I was going to leave that behind. So one of the big issues with hurricanes is it brings a lot of rain, and that brings flooding. Outside, the world had turned upside down. Our whole block was filling up with water. Levees broken, a man behind us shouted. Everybody head south. I held onto Mama and my horn as tight as I could. Another thing is that this town, or where Katrina hit, is along the coast, the ocean. And so there's usually these things up to prevent the water from going into the town. But it broke. The levee broke. The water rose so high we had trouble walking. Daddy grabbed a piece of someone's porch that was floating by and lifted me onto it. I was glad because I was afraid he might run into a gator. I kept sharp watch just in case. Mama climbed up beside me and held me in her arms. Everything's going to be fine, baby, she said. I almost didn't mind him calling me baby just then. As Daddy pushed us along, all kinds of things drifted by, even someone's plastic Christmas tree. I saw a sad-looking dog standing on a bunch of boards. He had a red ball in his mouth. Daddy, I said, can we take him with us? No, Louie, he said. The dog wagged his tail like he wanted to play. He never stopped looking at me as we floated past. I sure felt sorry for that dog. He was in the same fix we were. The dog. The water was up to Daddy's chest by now. The sky was so blue and bright that it hurt my eyes. Daddy pushed that big old piece of porch up one street and down the next. I tried to help by paddling with a broom that I pulled out of the water. A flat boat floated by. Got any room for us, Daddy called. Sorry, the man said. We're full. Please, mister, I said. There's a black and white dog back there. Can you take him? He's not very big. The man didn't answer. The boat just drifted away. The murky brown water rose high. Daddy had to climb on the porch with Mama and me. That's when my broom hit a pile of clothes. Mama covered my eyes. Don't look, baby. But I couldn't help looking anyway. We rowed and paddled until we reached a place where the water wasn't as deep. Daddy jumped off and began to push us again. Finally, we felt the bottom of our boat scrape the ground. Mama and I got off. Where do we go now? I asked. I don't know, baby, Mama said. We joined a long line of folks heading toward the Superdome. That's where their football team plays. They're like our Bears or the Colts play. but it's not the Bears, the Colts. It's their team. When we got closer, I could see that the storm had torn away part of the dome's big white roof. People were shouting and crowding towards the grate. A lady dragging a garbage bag full of stuff came up to me. I've lived around these parts for 50 years, she said, and I ain't never seen anything like this. She hoisted the heavy bag over her shoulder. I just didn't reckon the store would ever get this bad. Mama shook her head. Nobody did. The Superdome was a lot bigger inside than it looked on TV. Sunlight streamed through the holes in the roof. Thousands of people were spread all over the place. The air was hot and stinky. Mom and Daddy and me searched until we found an empty row of seats and sat down to wait. I was tired and hungry and wished we could go back, and I kept thinking about that little black and white dog. I wonder if he was all right. When the electricity went out, Mom and Daddy and me huddled close together in the dark. I was scared, but finally I fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up from a bad dream about losing my cornet. I felt better when I saw that it was still tucked next to Mama. But I couldn't get back to sleep. Babies were crying and people were talking. Some folks were even yelling at each other. The next day, it got hotter. People had to wait in long lines for the bathroom. When we finally got in, it smelled so bad I had to hold my breath. On the way back to our seats, we heard someone say that the food and water were running out. Daddy thought he'd better give us something to eat and maybe some water. Louie, he said, keep an eye on your mama. I'll be back as soon as I can. Daddy didn't come back at all that afternoon. Two men in front of us started fighting over a water bottle. The first man saw me watching them. Hey, boy, he said, eyeing the bottle in my hand. Give me that. Leave my son alone, Mama said. She stood up and hustled us out of our seats. Come on, she said. We're going somewhere else. What about Daddy? I asked, grabbing my cornet. He won't be able to find us. Yes, he will, baby, Mama said. Don't you worry. We waited in our new seats, then waited some more. My legs hurt from sitting so long. Mama seemed tired and worried. I looked all around that huge dome. There are too many people crowded in this place, I thought. Daddy will never find us now. I picked up my cornet and fingered the shiny buttons. That's when I had an idea. Mama, I said, jumping up. I'll be right back. No, baby, stay right here. But Mama, I know how to find Daddy. She looked at me, my hand. All right, but you come straight back here. We're at section 145, row 23. Can you remember that? I nodded and headed up the stairs. I wonder what he's going to do. I think it's something with his trumpet. I hurried across the fake green grass and stopped in the middle of the field. I closed my eyes, lifted my horn, and played a song that my granddaddy had taught me, Home Sweet Home. After I blew that last note, I stood for a minute. A voice cut through the noise in the Superdome. Louie Daniel. Daddy, he ran all the way down from the steps from the top of the Superdome. He grabbed me in his arms and swung me around. I've looked all over the place, Daddy said. I thought I'd never find you. Where's Mama? Section 145, row 23. When we got back, Mama started crying, but she was smiling too at the same time. I'm so proud of you, Louie Daniel. My hands hurt from holding this book. Our buses are here, someone yelled. People pushed and shoved, trying to reach the doors. When we finally stepped outside, it was so bright I had to blink a few times before I could see. And there was that black and white dog wagging his tail at me. Daddy, look, I cried. Please, can we keep him? Louie, we can't take a dog with us, he said. The buses are for people. Who says we're going on any bus, Mama said. Daddy looked at her for a long minute. Then he smiled. Those buses are taking them somewhere safe. But it looks like they didn't get on there walking with the dog. Come on, boy, I said. We're going home. So Hurricane Katrina actually hit in 2005. So before you were born, but it was only 15 years ago. So it was kind of soon. It was a really bad storm. So there you have it, a storm called Katrina. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you tomorrow.